Okay, good evening, Dimitri. I think we are live. I hope you can hear me. Let's see, the first thing I wanted to do, I noted the other day that you have a bit of, you're not totally clear with the sounds 19 and 90. Yeah, 19 and 90. So I'm just going to give you a couple of numbers to start. 19,990. 19,990. Could you just write that for me in numbers? 19,990. 19,990. Hey, it's good to have you here. So, 19,990. 19,990. Here, I'll put it for you when you've written it. 19,990. Just a little warm up for you. Yes, yes. Well done, well done. I'm happy with that. Okay, that's good. You got that absolutely right this time. Okay, let's see what I want to do today. You were asking the other day about simple words for actions, for simple things, but lots of different meanings. So let's see. For example, we have the word to say, and I've got lots of synonyms here today for the verb to say. Okay, so to say normally to produce words, to recite. Yeah, he said, "Come here." Yeah, and this is a nice easy word. Can you think of any more words that we would associate with say, synonyms or related words to this? Okay, so yes, there we go. To say, to produce words, to recite. So the next one I would like to put here, I'm going to put the simple ones first, is talk. Yeah? Okay, so to articulate words. So let's see, what's the difference between say and talk? I think say is the actual words that are coming out, whereas talk, these are sentences and various things. Ooh, good, 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 I like this. Utter, reply, exclaim, retort. So, yes, utter. I really like that word utter. It's one of the ones I've got here on my list. So, let's look at to utter. To speak, yes. Okay, so to utter. To utter is to produce sounds with your voice. To exclaim, oh, I like exclaim as well. That's a good one. So let's see, to utter is when a sound comes out of your mouth. It doesn't necessarily have to be a word. So, for example, he uttered a cry. Yeah, he uttered a few words. Yeah. Okay, so to utter is got the idea of to make a noise. Yeah. Do you think you could give me a sentence with utter? Yeah. Yeah. He uttered a few words. He uttered a what shall I put here? Yes. He uttered a shout of surprise. Oh, surprise. Well, surprise. You know what I'm trying to do. So, could you give me a sentence with to utter? I know utter has other meanings. Utter can mean total, complete, the maximum. Yeah, but here to utter a sound. He was so surprised he was unable to utter a word. He uttered an opinion as to why Labour flanked in the by-election. So flanked isn't the right word. Flunked, F-L-U-N-K-E-D. To flank is to go round the side of. So if you have an army in a line and you're in front of them, you could flank them by going around the edge of them, and that would be to flank. But here, to flunk. Yes. Okay, so let's try a few more of these. So what about to exclaim? So to exclaim, let me write this here. E-X-C-L-A-I-M. Hair, flunked. Flunked. That's it, Dimitri. To flunk is an informal word for to fail. Yeah, I flunked my exam. I flunked my interview. But this is informal. This is like a foreign formality or something like that. I tried to get into the university, but I flunked my exams. Okay, let's go back to exclaim. So is to say emphatically. Yeah, emphatically. Or to say with surprise. With surprise. So, for example, a nice example of that, he exclaimed that he had that he was innocent, or he exclaimed that he was not responsible. Okay, so normally when you explain, you've got maybe a loud voice and you're adding emphasis to it. What? That can't be true. That's the idea of exclaim. Could you give me a sentence with exclaim when you're ready? So to exclaim with surprise, he exclaimed that he never thought he would win the lottery after winning £1 million. Yeah, so to exclaim, to say with surprise, would you please work this weekend? He exclaimed that he couldn't work that weekend because he'd promised to take his wife out, or he'd promised to take his family to the seaside. Yeah, so it's to say emphatically, loudly, surprised, maybe upset, something like that. So when you're ready, give me a sentence with to exclaim. I think to exclaim is quite a nice word. Yeah. He exclaimed he had enough and would quit his job the next day. That's brilliant. Yeah, I have had enough. I think that's much better. Yeah, he exclaimed he had enough. That's a good correction. I like that, because he had enough. No, he exclaimed that he had enough previous to that. Okay, so let's have a look at another one of these words. So to converse. Yeah, to converse, to engage in conversation. Yeah, this is like the same word as these basketball shoes that everybody wears. So I was conversing all afternoon with some really interesting people. Yeah, it's to talk about things with them. Yeah, to engage in conversation. To converse is clearly the verb of conversation, so to have a conversation with somebody. Although notice, to converse, this is probably a bit formal. I'd probably give it something like a 6.5. Yeah, we conversed for an hour about how we could improve the world. We conversed about the latest things in hematology. We conversed about how to the new machines that we were going to get. Yeah, so to converse. When you're ready, give me a sentence with converse. When I converse with my boss, I'm normally quite careful about what he says because I don't really agree with his politics. But it's not. You go to a dinner party and you converse with the people who are there. Maybe if you go to the pub, it can be, you can converse with people, but the quality of conversation is not always as good. Yeah. Some people just love conversing. Certainly here in Spain, everybody likes to converse the whole time. It's maybe a national pastime. That's a good. I think that's a good thing. Yeah. So to converse, to engage in conversation, to talk to somebody about something. So when you're ready, could we have a sentence about with converse? Yeah, notice it's you converse with a person about something. At the hematology meeting today, we conversed mainly about the chronically ill patients. So I've got a really good question here. Is it chronically ill patients? So is it patients, P-A-T-I-E-N-T-S, or the patients? She was mingling and conversing all day long with other guests. That's a really good one. So my question here is it the patients or just patients generally? Because if you say the patients, you're talking about the specific patients in your hospital. Whereas patients without the, just generally chronically ill patients. But if you say the, it's talking about the specific ones that you are looking after, the specific ones that you are responsible for. Okay, let's try another of these words. To state, yeah, to state. I quite like that word as well, to state. Okay, to state, to declare something to be a fact. So, from this word, a statement, he stated that 2 and 2 made 4. Yeah, you declare it to be a fact. The problem is maybe the thing that you state is not true. So he stated that he had no interest in this subject. Yeah, it's to make a statement, and maybe we could contrast with this with the verb to claim, where to say something is true. Yeah, so when you claim, you say it's true, but we don't know if it's true or not. So claim, if I say he claims to be the #1 footballer, then maybe it's true, maybe it isn't. But if it's stated, they stated that he's the best player the team has ever had, they're saying that this is a fact. So to state or a statement is much stronger and much more realistic, much more true than just a claim. Yeah, with the word claim we're suggesting that maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. So let's see, while we're going, do you think you could give me a sentence? I was going to say a statement, it could be, with state, and a sentence with claim as well. So, for example, he stated that he had never left the house. Yeah, and then I could also say he claimed he had never left the house. Okay, so he stated, he says this is true. Yeah? If I say he stated, he said, and he declared that it was the truth, that he'd never left the house. If I say he claimed he had never left the house, I'm suggesting maybe what he said was not actually the truth. Yeah, so he claimed he had never left the house, but we don't know if he left the house or not. So if you're up to it, do you think? Yeah, if you are up to it, if you're ready for it, could you give me a sentence with state and one with claim? I'm always pushing students to make sentences, because it's a very useful exercise. It helps cement vocabulary into people's minds. Yeah. Also to state, I've got here as well, to make known. Yeah. The company stated that there was absolutely no danger associated with the product. And that's brilliant. The doctor asked the patient to state her name and date of birth, but she claimed she could remember neither. That's a really lovely sentence. I like it. Yeah? Yeah, please state your name. And that's, I think, the second meaning, to make known. Yeah, please make known your name. And then the doctor didn't really believe that she couldn't remember either of them. Okay, I think that's great. So, let's see. What about to enunciate? Yeah, to enunciate. Yeah, so to enunciate, to make sounds clearly. So if I am trying to enunciate, I am trying to pronounce every sound and make it easy for people to understand me. You can also use to enunciate, meaning to explain in detail. So this is the general plan, but I can enunciate the different parts of the plan. Yeah? Some people do not enunciate, enunciate, and then it's really difficult to understand them. I can enunciate each point of the plan if you want further detail. Okay, so it works really in two ways. To enunciate, to speak clearly. Please could you enunciate, because I can't understand what you're saying. When people speak Spanish to me and they don't enunciate, it makes my life difficult. And I bet the Brits can make your life really hard as well when they don't enunciate. Okay, or you can enunciate something, you can explain it in much more detail, to explain it clearly. So, Dimitri, if you're ready, give me a sentence with enunciate. I think that's quite a good word. Yeah, to enunciate. Okay, so to enunciate. Whoops, some people. I need to take that D out. Some people do not enunciate. If you want to be understood clearly, you must enunciate. The terms of the contract are enunciated in the small details on the back of the form, in the small print. Yeah, each and every point is enunciated clearly on the back of the contract. Yeah, it's explained in language that probably is almost impossible to understand. He was slurring his words because he was drunk and could not enunciate properly. That's a really good sentence, Dimitri. I love it. That's really great. So let's try another one then. The next one is to confer. To confer. Yeah, you normally confer with someone. So to confer, to talk together. Yeah, to consult, to discuss. So the, if I'm negotiating with somebody, maybe I have to confer with my boss to find out if this term or condition is acceptable. Yeah. So, excuse me, do you mind if I confer with my colleague to see what he thinks about your proposal? Yeah. So it's like talk together, to discuss, to ask permission, to ask further. Yeah, I can't answer this question right now. I will have to confer with my colleagues. So notice, to confer with somebody. Or yet sometimes in these quiz programs they ask you a question, and then you're maybe allowed to confer with a friend to check if this is okay or not. Yeah, this is related to conference. So it's sort of like to have a conference with someone, to have a talk with someone, to see what they think about it, to see their opinion of it. Okay, so if you can, give me a sentence using to confer. Yeah, you could confer with somebody, or very often as well, they conferred, and it's a double R, they conferred together before giving a final answer. Yeah, so you're checking that everything's okay. I think you could probably even confer with the manual. Yeah, if you're using a machine and you're not exactly sure of the settings, either you confer with a colleague to ask him what settings should I be using, or you maybe confer and have a look at the manual. It's forbidden to confer with your classmates during the test. Yeah, it could be really useful to confer with your classmates during the test as well. Okay, let's try another one here. That's a good example. Your written examples are really good, and you should be very happy with them, Dimitri. Okay, verbalize. Notice S in English, or verbalize with a Z in American. So to verbalize is to use words to express something. So, for example, very often young children find it difficult to verbalize. Yeah, they just start crying. Yeah, and the thing I normally say to them, say it in words. Say it in words, to verbalize. It's true. You're writing really well. And any tiny mistakes you're making, you're actually correcting them as well. You're the one that's done the work. So to verbalize, to use words to express. For example, it's very difficult to verbalize the taste of something. Yeah. When people go wine tasting, they use all sorts of strange adjectives to verbalize the flavour that they're tasting. Or can you imagine how difficult it would be to verbalize what colours look like to somebody who's never seen colour? Or, yeah, maybe as well, very shy people find it difficult to verbalize their thoughts and feelings. Yeah, they like just to keep them in and not to not let them out, so they don't verbalize what they actually feel. So, if you're ready, Dimitri, give me a sentence with verbalize. Yeah, to use words to express, to put in to put in words. Yeah. I think very often many of our thoughts is very difficult to verbalize them. I think words are only a poor solution to explaining what we're thinking. Yeah. And I think many thoughts are very, very difficult to verbalize. How do you verbalize an emotion, for example? Yeah, so verbalizing things can be very difficult. Yeah, it's not always the easiest thing to do. So to verbalize, and I would guess as a noun, verbalization. I think this verbalize is probably a fairly formal word as well. I'd probably give it something like a 7. Yeah, I don't think this is a word to use in an informal conversation. Yeah. So he was so smitten with the lady that he could not even dare verbalize his feelings. That's a great sentence. Yeah, I was about to complain about the could, but I think the could's actually very good there. It works very nicely. Okay, so let's try. It's difficult to verbalize principles of quantum mechanics. It's very difficult to verbalize the principles of quantum mechanics because they are the specific ones. So how do I verbalize the quantum mechanics? Waves and particles are the same thing. At any one time, a piece of matter is either in a state where it is both wave and particle at the same time. Yes, exactly. The principles of quantum mechanics. Because if you just said principles, we'd be talking about principles generally, and then millions of types of millions of principles for millions of things. But if you put the principles, this is saying the specific ones that belong to quantum mechanics. Yeah, so these are the principles. Okay, let's try another one of these. So, to declare. To declare. Okay, so to declare it's sort of like to state, but I think it's probably more emphatic. It's probably stronger. So to declare, to affirm or state something emphatically. Yeah, this is linked to the noun to a declaration, to make a declaration. And very often when you make if you make a declaration, they actually make you sign it. Yeah. Or well, now the UK is not part of the EU, so there's going to be this line: do you have any goods to declare? No, I have nothing to declare. He declared that that his company was bankrupt. This to declare is quite official as well. I think when you declare, this is something that is public knowledge. Yeah. He declared that he would not do this again, and I would say declare is even stronger than state. The spokesman made a declaration. He declared that the politician was not involved in the scandal. He had absolutely nothing to do with the scandal. So, Dimitri, when you're ready, you know what to do. I need another example, if you would. Yeah, you've been doing really good work with your examples. Okay, so to declare, yeah, he declared his innocence. He declared that he had done nothing wrong. Yeah, it's to state it emphatically, quite strongly. Yeah, it's stronger than to state, as I said before. I was actually, there's this old-fashioned phrase, I do declare. Yeah, saying, wow, what a surprise. Yeah, maybe you could declare your love for a woman. He declared himself to her, or even to declare marriage. the decision was declared null and void. That's a really, really good example, Dimitri. Yeah, because this has the idea that it's being made official. The Tories declared victory in the by-election. Yes. Well, the Tories seem to have done very well in these recent elections. Okay, let's try one more easy one just to finish with. I think maybe I want to do, yes, this one I'm certain you know. So, whoops, and paste, and I need space. Well, to chatter, also the same as to chat. Okay, so I chattered with my friend during class and I paid absolutely no attention. Yeah, also chatter as a noun can be the sound of voices. Yeah, they were chattering all day. I was actually thinking as well, your teeth could chatter when you're cold. Yeah. So to chat and to chatter, I think these are probably less formal words, probably 4.5. Yeah. To converse, I think you're talking about more important things. To converse is a more formal verb, whereas to chat or to chatter, yeah, we've got the chat box here. It says live chat at the top, but I don't think we're chattering. I think we're working. So, yeah, chat is something that's probably quite is changing with modern technology. Yeah, the birds were chattering on the telephone wire. The birds were chattering on the telephone wire. So they were tweeting. They were making this noise. Okay, so the last one, Dimitri. Give me a sentence with chatter. Yeah, we can't stand here chattering all day. We can't stand here chatting. So I think maybe chat is talk informally about things. Chatter, maybe it has the idea of something with less substance than chat. You can have an informal chat, but you shouldn't chatter all day. You shouldn't chatter for a long time. Yeah. I'm going to write that example as well. So an indistinct chatter was heard throughout the cafe. Yes, it's that noise just below, or that you can hear in the background. Okay, Dimitri, let's stop for today. That was really good. I will try and do something like this with another set of words for next time. Maybe something about hit, strike, beat, knock, clout, thump, smack, slap, spank, wallop, slug, poke, pummel, jab, buffet, bump. But those were great examples, and you've been a wonderful student. So thanks very much, and I will see you next week, my friend. Take care then. Bye bye.